onto the field, and because of that, those kids will not be able to play tonight. So that's a huge disadvantage for Calabasas.
So Calabasas could be shorthanded, but it sounds like they still have a lot of great players that they could lean on in this game because they're loaded with Division I caliber guys.
Well, when you talk about their Division I guys, they have a sophomore wide receiver who they believe is the #1 player in the country, and that's saying a lot when you got Keyshawn's son there. Brian Hightower, he's a sophomore. He's caught over 1,000 yards and has 1,200 yards in receptions. Their quarterback is Tristan Gabia, and Tristan has done a great job for them. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards in a season. 4,000 yards. I mean, that's just incredible. On the defensive side, we talked about Hayes already, and they have a kid by the name of Markel Dismark, who's a Nebraska commit as well. So they got a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. They feel that that they're at a disadvantage, but they still think they have enough players to make a great football game and make this happen for them.
You're watching live coverage here at Citrus Hill High School as the Hawks are set to kick off against Calabasas in the state regional and Division II-A. Citrus Hill, the Inland Division champions, taking on Calabasas, who won their first CIF title. And we just heard that Calabasas will be short a couple of their big-time players. Doesn't mean it might make it any easier for Citrus Hill because they got other guys that can step up. But certainly being at home and maybe having the upper hand personnel-wise lends to be in favor of Citrus Hill at least.
Well, yeah, it's a contrast of styles. You're going to have one team who's going to grind it out. They're going to run the ball. And you got another team who likes to throw it, and they're going to pass it around, and they feel like they're in spread. They're going to run some multiple sets out of spread, and they're going to spread the ball around, and they think they have playmakers, and they want to get out fast and go fast, somewhat like Centennial, and get out there and run a lot of plays.
Speaking of Centennial, they'll play next Saturday night against De La Salle for the Open Division State Championship at Sacramento State University. And our one other local team, David Zink, you were at the game last night, Mater Dei, Chula Vista Mater Dei. Notre Dame went on the road, the Northwest Division champions. And you suffered through it with them in the rain, hailstorms, and the Titans had a great season, but it came to a close.
Weather is a part of football, especially in the month of December, and last night was no exception. It rained the entire game, 3 stints of hail, and cold like it is here. I think it's pretty brisk here, but at least we got dry weather. But last night, Notre Dame got bit by what they usually use to win games against opponents, turning the ball over 3 times to actually lose to Mater Dei of Chula Vista. It was a tough loss, but great season. 15 games this season, most ever played in a season by a Notre Dame high school squad, and they've also got the most wins ever in a season, 14. Kind of rewriting the record books at Notre Dame. Got a lot for Derek Johnson and his crew to be proud of, but it ended last night in, yes, heavy rain in Chula Vista.
So we had 3 local teams advance to the state regional. Tonight, Citrus Hill taking on Calabasas in Division II-A. On the northern side of the bracket for Northern California, it's Mountain View taking on Pleasant Valley. The winner of that game will take the winner of this game and play for the Division II-A state championship. And Coach, let's go back to Citrus Hill. We've talked about them quite a bit, about the run attack and how they focused on the ground game. Yet they still have great receivers. That maybe by, I don't want to say the receivers are decoys, but if you lull someone into sleep and expect that run game, if you've got a great receiver, just put that ball up and catch him sleeping in the secondary maybe, right?
Well, we talked to Coach Lomont last week. They had a couple times where they did have some passes called, and they weren't able to get to him because of the defensive alignment. I think they think for sure they might have to throw the ball, sometime. When you get guys in the box, and we know Calabasas is going to load the box tonight, they're going to try to put as many guys in the box to stop the run game. The pass game can be a weapon. So, and he's got guys, like Blackwell, who's going to San Jose State, a guy who's a big playmaker who can make some plays, and hopefully maybe he'll get a chance tonight.
So we could see Isaiah Hayes, the son of Chris Hayes, the former San Gorgonio star, matching up with some of these Citrus Hill receivers. I don't know. It could be a quiet night for Isaiah Hayes, the corner for Calabasas.
It could be. I think where you look at if Citrus Hill is going to be successful, they're going to have to be able to pressure the quarterback. And I think that's what we're going to see tonight. We're going to see some matchups on the perimeter with one-on-one type situations, and if Calabasas could take advantage of it, then they
So in about 7 minutes, we're going to turn this thing over to Teen Vision. They will have the complete broadcast. Miles Martin and Coach Rechtenwald will have the call. You can watch the game in its entirety on Teen Vision and then tune it back to the Inland Sports YouTube channel for a live post-game show with highlights and interviews and, of course, analysis here at the desk. And David Zink, you've covered Citrus Hill for many years now, and nothing against those Eastern Division championships that the Hawks won. But, of course, when you look at the Inland Division bracket and all the great teams they have, really a special season for Citrus Hill to get the job done now. And as we heard on the radio, they're not done yet. They're not just happy to be here. They're on a mission.
Well, and it's a slow roll to where they're at now. I mean, a couple years ago, people dismissing the Eastern Division championships that they had won. And Coach Logan, excuse me, Zomalt. So Coach Zomalt, but he talked about a couple years ago about, we don't get the respect, kind of a chip on their shoulder. I think they've proven themselves to the Inland Division. I think they can prove themselves to the rest of the state. I mean, Coach, at this point, 5 titles for Coach Zomalt here at Citrus Hill. Where does he start being placed within the echelon of coaches? I mean, he's doing it on a regular basis at this point.
Well, at this point, you have to consider him one of the better guys in the Inland Empire for sure. Coach Logan is definitely the guy. But then after that, there's some great coaches, and Coach Zomalt has to be considered in that category. The thing, like you said, I think what he really brings across is a mental and physical toughness. And it comes across, and you see it when those guys play. They hit you, and they hit you hard. It was a real physical game last week, and those kids seem to pride themselves in being physical and taking on the challenge. And you're right, they walk around with a little bit chip on their shoulder. Coach Omar talked about when they didn't throw the ball last week, his mom was up in his hands. And I think that's where he gets the physicality, because he said she was ready to roll up too. So they're gonna make it a little bit more peaceful for her, put her on the sideline tonight, but they're gonna do what they do. And that's not gonna change. And that's kind of what, a good tell on a football coach is that we're going to do what we're going to do, and we're going to be who we're going to be, and we're going to be successful doing it that way, and they have been.
And he repeats it. He went back-to-back for 2 years, took a year off, went back-to-back again, took a couple years off, and now he's back again. Maybe we'll see him again next year in the Inland Division knocking at the door. But, the Inland Division, as you well know, is a dogfight from top to bottom. Everybody's a good team. There's no dogs in that division.
Well, Heritage has done a great job. They've been in the semifinals or better the year, semis the year before. You got, programs like Rancho Verde, who's very consistent. You have Riverside Poly, who did well, and
in your league.
Well, Sanji, we've been there, and we've been competitive, and we think we're going to be back in the top 5 next year, and we hope to be in this game. I'm not going to put a.
Did you just guarantee it?
No. I heard it. I'm not going to.
I heard it.
We hope to be in this game. We're not going to put a bullseye on our back.
Don't need that.
But we're excited about the opportunity. It is a very competitive league, and I failed to mention Rev. Coach Brewick is one of the better coaches out there as well.
And has won a state title.
And won a state title. And Rev is an outstanding program. And like I said, there's a lot of good programs in the Inland Empire. Carter has done a great job. Cajon, other schools as well.
I'll say, as a reporter and also just as a fan of inland area football for a lot of years, it is a lot of fun. I think the best division to watch throughout the season is the Inland Division, because you never know where anybody's going to end up, and somebody who looks at the top of the pack ends up at the back of the pack. I mean, there were some people eliminated. Take Redlands East Valley this year, injuries and the like, whatever. But still, they were eliminated early, not part of the party.
Right.
And so now you've got the last team standing out here, and now they're looking to be able to go to a state game. I have to say that what Coach Zolmalt's done here at Citrus Hill is shaping up to be quite an incredible program.
Yeah, Coach Lomond is definitely an upper echelon type coach, and he's proven it with the success they've had here. And like you said, Rev went out this year, but I'm sure they'll be back next year.
Always.
And there's 5 or 6 teams in this division that truly feel they can compete and win this division every year, and that's what makes it exciting. It changed a little bit because it was the Citrus, it was the Vista Marietta Centennial CIF final, and
every year.
You can pencil that in, and it's great that those programs have moved up and been successful too, because it represents the IE super well. And Centennial went to the Pac-5 and done well. Vista Marietta went to their division and lost 2 years in a row in the finals, but they reached the finals. So quality football being played out here in the IE.
Well, when you move those teams up into the higher divisions, the Pac-5s and the West Valley divisions, things like that, when it gets to that, then you put a spotlight on more schools that are at the lower levels that are moving up, that are up and coming programs and the like.
Right.
So it's a really good thing. But nonetheless, what Coach Zolmalt's done here is there's another school down at the other end of this street, which we'll rename nameless, but they basically draw the same kids, and there's been a lot more success here than there's been there.
Well, Coach Lomond is 68-7 in the last 5 years, and 3 CIF titles is fantastic for the program.
All right, guys, we've got 2 minutes before we turn this thing over to Teen Vision. Real quick, sizing up the Citrus Hill versus Calabasas game, Coach, and we'll go to Zink next. Your keys to the game. What does Citrus Hill have to do in this game correctly to pull out a W and get to that state title game?
Citrus Hill is going to have to control the football, and they're going to have to put pressure on the quarterback. If the quarterback can sit there for Calabasas and can throw the football, it's going to be a long night. They have tremendous athletes. So Citrus Hill has got to control the football, run the ball, be successful, move the chains, keep it out their hands. Calabasas, when I talked to Coach Clausen, says they want to start quickly, and they're looking to get out and get up early and try to change the game plan of Citrus Hill.
All right, Zink, keys of the game tonight.
I just think it's continue. You got to remember that it's about finishing. That's what the great coaches talk about. Matt Logan talks about. I've talked to Rawlinson. He talks about. It's about finishing. To be here and happy to have this experience and everything, but tonight is about getting to the end of that game with a victory. So you've got to take care of business, got to be mentally tough, which I know both coaches got their teams ready to go. Physically, you got to be ready to go, but you just can't make the stupid mistakes. So as Coach said, I would just reiterate, turnovers, I think field position and turnovers and being able to hold on to the football and limit possessions of Calabasas will be good things for Citrus Hill in order to get past this game and into the championship.
The rain has stayed away. There's no wind. It's chilly, but we can deal with that. We did it last week as Citrus Hill won the title against Heritage. It's going to be a fantastic game, and once again, you can watch the entire game in its entirety on Teen Vision. So go turn on Teen Vision. If you don't know how to find it, go on Twitter. You can go on my Twitter handle at Sports with Webb or the Teen Vision Twitter handle. There's a link to the Cube site online. You can watch the entire game with Miles Martin and Coach Rechtenwald on the call. And then as soon as that game goes final, go back to the Inland Sports YouTube channel, and we will have a live post-game show with highlights from the game, analysis, and interviews. Once again, we got to thank Adrenaline Athletic Training in Corona, Spoiled Quick Quality Oil Change in Riverside, and the Orange Crest Junior All-American Football and Cheer Program. We appreciate their support once again. Citrus Hill getting set to kick off against Calabasas here in the State Regional Division 2A playoffs. We're just minutes away from kickoff. The national anthem's coming. Make sure you get over to Teen Vision for the entire game. I'm Pep Fernandez for head coach Ron Gueringer, David Zink from the Press Enterprise. We will see you right after the game back here on Inland Sports.